Hello everyone! Welcome back to another 2v2 battle. This is going to be 2 Chaos, which is me and Surreal versus an Empire player and a Dwarf player. For my army here, we have a front line of Chaos Marauders with great weapons. Behind them are 3 aspiring champions, a Chaos Ferromanticore, 2 of the unarmored Chaos Trolls, and then a Chosen with great weapons. I also brought a Chaos Sorcerer of Metal, just to kind of switch it up from the Chaos Sorcerer of Fire, because like, you never see the Metal Lord brought, so I was like, let's give him some love. Be led by Kolek, Sun Eater, and then the Dragon Ogre here. We also have 2 Horse Masters. This is my anti-cav contingent, basically. It's going to be Kolek and the Dragon Ogres, and I guess kind of like the Horse Masters as well, because these guys have armor piercing and anti-large. Then for Surreal's army, we have a front line of normal Chaos Marauders, 3 aspiring champions. We have 2 Chosen on the flanks. Then we have 3 Chaos Warriors with great weapons in the back. 3 Chaos Pharaoh Manticores right there, and then 3 Horse Masters. Yeah, 3 Horse Masters for Surreal. Over there on the side, we have a Vanguard deployed Outriders, 3 of them from the Empire player, just the normal Outriders. Then over here we have the 2 Demogryph units. One is normal, and then the other one is going to be the Griffites, led by Karl Franz, mounted on his steed, and then also a Amber Wizard mounted on a steed. Neither of them brought the Griffins. We have 2 Halberdiers from their infantry line here, 2 Spearmen, 2 Flagellants, one of which is the Tattersouls, and then the Great Swords, and also 2 Mortar teams. Then the Dwarf player brought 3 Great Cannons. They are being led by a generic Lord. We have 2 Longbeards with great weapons, Dwarf Warrior with great weapons, 2 Ironbreakers, 4 Quarrelers, and then 4 more Longbeards in the front line. I think that's it for the Dwarf player. Now, the Dwarf player did not bring the ring on the Lord, which I think you probably should in most cases. The ring's pretty good. It's like a free breath spell every 90 seconds? Is it 90? I may be wrong. It may be 135 seconds. I don't remember. But it's pretty good. But anyway, right now, I'm going to march so that I am going to be engaging against the Dwarf player, because as you can see, my infantry here is, for the most part, anti-Dwarf built. That's what I built to kill. And Surreal's force here with the just Chaos Marauders and these normal Chosen and the Aspiring Champions there. I mean, I have Aspiring Champions as well, but like his infantry core, except for these 3 Great Warriors, are going to be geared to killing more Empire, like lower armor soldiers. So I'm going to try again to engage against the Dwarf player to let him engage against the Imperial player. Just so that the ideal damage, or the ideal targets are met, I guess. These Outriders are kind of coming in close, and I know that I'm going to have to deal with them. I do not want to engage in the melee and have 3 Outriders potentially shooting our backsides. So I am going to go and try and get my Horse Masters over there soonish. I think I'm also going to bring Kolek and our Dragon Ogres around there as well. You can see the Amber Wizard has summoned a Pharaoh Manticore, and this Pharaoh Manticore is just going to charge right into mine. Which is fine. I'm going to buff, I think I buffed mine with the Chaos Sorcerer. I brought the spell that buffs your armor and your leadership. And then there's also, what's the other spell? I brought the direct damage final transportation spell, and then one that decreases weapon damage and melee attack. Those are the 3 spells I took from the Chaos Sorcerer Metal. So yeah, this Pharaoh Manticore is just going to go at it. So I'm going to charge here at the last moment, I think. There we go. Then I think I cast a buff spell on him. Actually, hold on. I've never compared the 2. I don't actually know their stats. It would appear that the Chaos Pharaoh Manticore has potentially higher morale, same speed, same melee stats. Okay, they're about the same. Although the Pharaoh Manticore has no forest penalty. I don't know if... Yeah, I guess ours doesn't. Interesting. Anyway. Also, what the Chaos Sorcerer of Metal does, it makes everybody map-wide have 4% additional armor-piercing damage. Oh, so yeah, over here, I'm trying to corral these Outriders in case they're on skirmish mode. So we are going to be charging them from the front and then also charging them from the back with these Dragon Ogres. Trying to shut these guys down. We're going to be able to catch them here with the Dragon Ogres. A little bit, I guess, anyway. And then charge them with the Horse Masters. I believe we are faster than they are. Yeah, they have a speed of 80. Horse Masters have a speed of 90. So you can actually catch up to the Outriders. And you'll be throwing spears the entire time while the Outriders are just trying to run away. And you can see I'm keeping Kolek in pace, so we're trying to isolate them in this corner of the map so we can, well, murder them. Because again, I want them out of the fight before I have to really worry about them. You can see our Ferromet score has won this fight pretty handily with the buff of our armor and leadership. And again, I'm trying to make it so that my forces are going to be engaging against the Dwarf player so they can maximize their effectiveness. We have routed off one of the Outriders already and are still pressing on towards the other two with Kolek, the Dragon Ogres, and our 2 Horse Masters. These 3 Chaos Ferromanticores were sent ahead by Surreal to try and disrupt their corollary line, which they did pretty well. So it's a really good job there. You can see this organ gun getting some shots over their Dwarven infantry, so we're also going to be trying to shut that down. Actually, I don't think we get to that for a while, if I remember correctly. Meanwhile, Surreal's Horse Masters are back here trying to do what they can against these Longbeards with great weapons, and they are currently being chased off by the Demigryph Knights, and I think they're actually going to get caught there for a brief moment. Chaos Ferromanticore is still going in and out of this battle. I sent my 1 into the core line as well because we want to shut them down. Over here on the side, we have caught the other 2 Outriders with our Horse Masters, and this is a battle that the Horse Masters can win in melee. So knowing that, I'm pulling my Dragon Ogres and Kolek around the infantry line of the Imperial player to get into the back lines over here. We got all sorts of nasty armor piercers against these dwarves. You can see the Griffites getting into my Ferromanticore here. That's fine. The other Demigryph Knight unit is actually just being kited by the 3 Horse Masters over there. The Outriders, for the most part, we have now dealt with the Horse Masters, and I actually sent my Dragon Ogres over there to finish them off. And now get into Surreal's fight here soon. Actually, like, we're kind of just mixed in here. You can see that his Prince Sigvald is over here fighting with my guys, while the rest of his army hasn't really engaged quite yet. I have a group of aspiring champions, I think, over here. Yeah. I did have Chaos Marauders, but they got routed by the overwhelming numbers of the Imperial Infantry because they were on their own. 3 Chaos Ferromanticore is still going strong. The Royal Griffites coming in. Now, I want to engage against the Griffites with Kolek and our Dragon Ogres, because we can kill them in melee, especially when we're buffed with our Metal Sorcerer. You can see the fight against the Dwarves. We are tearing through their Longbeard front line. They do have reinforcing Longbeards with great weapons, which is unfortunate. And the Corridors are currently rounding off our unarmored Chaos Trolls. At least one of them. But we are causing a lot of trouble in their back line here. We have our Horse Masters nearby. Kolek is into these Corridors. Dragon Ogres are coming around. I am trying to stay away from the Halberdiers and the Slayers for as much as I can. Because those are bad targets for us. Slayers can destroy Kolek. Casting his lightning spell here on this clump of troops. But Kolek and Dragon Ogres can do pretty well against Griffites, and well, Griffites can do pretty well against them too. Just doing what I can to shut down these Corridors for as long as we can. Our second group of unarmored Chaos Trolls is starting to rout under the pressure of the Corridor fire. But we have dealt a lot of damage to the frontline Longbeards. Horse Masters basically just unpressed right now. The Outrider group did come back and they're starting to shoot in our backside, but that's okay. I'm just going to continue focusing down these Halberd groups with our Chaos Marauder Horse Masters because they are lightly armored-ish, so we can kind of tear them down with the very high base weapon damage of the Horse Master Spears. Kolek here is just getting focused down by the Corridors, and Kolek has very low armor. In fact, I think it got lowered even more. Well, it's buffed right now because of spells, but I think he's even lowered in this patch. Maybe he was raised up higher. I can't remember. He was changed. I know that much. 50. Oh, okay, no, I guess he was increased. He did have a 30 armor before. I guess he has a 50 now. So he was kind of buffed. Still susceptible to a ranged fire, though. So trying to shut down these Corridors. As the Griffites continue to chase them, we have our Dragon Ogres mixed in here trying to finish them off. Dragon Ogres are pretty strong. And with the support of the Horse Masters, we are actually going to destroy these Griffites. I'm getting Kolek out of the middle of this fight because he is very low on health, and I do not want him to fall quite yet. Preferably never at all. Chaos Sorcerer over here is just kind of staying around, debuffing and buffing as I need. Aspiring Champions are the only thing left over in this area, but that is probably more than enough to deal with just base experiment and what's left of these Longbeards over here. And again, we'll get to Cyril's fight here in just a moment. Aspiring Champions is just so good. Especially when teamed up with Trolls. Helps the Trolls stay in the fight a lot longer. Because a lot of the time, you're going to have your Chaos Lords, which have their Encourage aura. You're not going to have them around your Trolls in most cases. So having the Aspiring Champions kind of serve as proxy leaders, or leadership, is pretty good. And you can just see all of our Horse Masters back here. They have expelled most of their ammunition, but they are still just causing so much of an issue with the backline correlers and cannons and everything. Because of their higher armor and, you know, better stats in general, they are very, well, maybe not very, but they're kind of effective light cav as well. And not just like skirmishing cav. Very, very light cav. And for the most part, like, look at these Marauders, man. They're almost dead, completely dead, but they're still in here because they've just been encouraged by, well, I think over here, yeah, Aspiring Champion right there. Where's my Chaos Lord? Or Chaos Sorcerer? I think I sent him into combat. Yeah. I actually sent him into combat here towards the end against multiple groups that are just kind of in the back. You can see Kolek here trying to give it to the Amber Wizard along with his Dragon Ogres. And we are going to shatter them. And lightning spells on these poor Slayers. So you can see the enemy running in terror from the Chaos Forces, but let's go see that fight with Cyril. And we'll probably also do that as like a more cinematic view as well. Because honestly, there's not too much going on. It's just mostly like a melee fight. Chaos Marauders are definitely more viable now, since they can have an Aspiring Champion behind them, causing disruption attacks also as they mix them with each other. I think it's very effective. The Chaos it feels so much better with just these 3 units. It's insane how much better they feel. Because like for the Empire, when they got all those new units added to them, all the units of renown and stuff, they did feel stronger, but they didn't feel like nearly as different as this does for the Chaos, with the Chaos Pharaoh Manticore, the Horse Masters, and the Aspiring Champion. It's a huge change. The Manticores are just a huge change. Being able to fly over the infantry line and just causing so much problems in the back line with these flying creatures is so huge. It's so huge for Chaos. Like, the only ones you could do that before would be like Chaos Warhounds or your Chaos Knights. And honestly, I've never liked Chaos Knights. I think they're far too expensive for what you get out of them. They can do a lot of work, but they're just so expensive, man. And I don't really like bringing them that much. Manticores, though, man, they may be a little underpriced. I don't know. But over here you can see Cyril's forces. They were right behind me, but so it took them a little bit more time to march towards the Imperial player. Just had further to go. But they are going to get engaged here against the Imperial infantry. Aspiring Champions can do really well against almost any type of Imperial infantry. In fact, like, this is very weird. Like, I haven't really delved into the stats or done, like, stat comparisons recently, but it just kind of feels like the Empire is weaker. Now, I know, like, the Greatswords got a debuff, and honestly, I still have to look into that. All I've heard is that they were debuffed a lot, but I haven't really looked into what was changed. Maybe their melee stats, the weapon attack, defense, and weapon strength. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. But, like, they just feel really weak now. Imperial troops used to feel like middle of the road. Like they could survive in almost any situation when backed up with the right armor, and maybe it's still like it still is that way, and I'm just crazy. But it just really feels like to me like Empire infantry is one of the weakest in the game. In just this last patch, they feel, I don't want to say almost useless, but like almost useless. And I could be totally wrong. Maybe I just haven't played as Empire enough. I mean, like, Empire infantry was never their strongest suit to begin with. It's always, like, everything else that you can support the infantry with. But they just feel really bad. I don't know. Like, I don't respect the Imperial infantry like I used to. But anyway, these aspiring champions, the Chosen, and the Chaos Marauders, Manticores are just going to have a field day with most of this Imperial infantry here. But don't get me wrong, like, Empire is still super strong. I'm not saying they're a crap faction. No, they are really good. It's just their infantry specifically, I feel, is just really, just kind of on the low tier now. Because, like, you used to fear 3 greatsword units. And maybe I still should, but I don't. I don't fear them anymore. It was very nice around here on Surreal's part to get all around these poor spearmen and greatswords and just murder them. Tattersouls not having much of a chance against the superior Chaos Infantry. Horse Masters is back there doing their things. I feel like the Horse Masters are pretty solid. And the times that I brought them, they've always done pretty well. And just these aspiring champions, man. Disruption attacks, well, potentially. To be mixed in with all of your other elite or non-elite Chaos troops, just, it feels so good. Oh, there's a flock of Doom from the Amber Wizard.
They are sheep, weak sheep. Slaughter them.
Yeah, like I said, there's really not much to cover for Surreal's side. It's mostly just a crazy melee fest. The work that he was doing here was with the Pharaoh Manticores and his Horse Masters of just kind of cutting the one Demigryph unit between the 3 of them, doing a lot of damage that way. And his Manticores are just being used very effectively to shut down the corridors back here, the cannons, organ guns, everything like that. Those poor dwarves. So yeah, Empire, it's like never been my top faction. I always thought they're just really kind of boring, even though variety-wise, they had like the most, and they were, I would say, top tier in terms of if you want to make a tier list. I would say Empire was at the top, maybe still are, but they've always just been kind of like the most boring to me. Them and the vampire counts, which is really odd because like for the longest time, those 2 were considered the best, and again, they may still be. I don't know. Yeah, Empire just always seems so boring. The only thing I like about Empire, I really like their outriders. That's why I try to use them a lot. They have cool looking units. I like the Sing Tank is pretty cool. Anyway, that's going to be a victory for us. A good game to our opponents and to Surreal. Kill count here, Kolek, 133 kills. He is, and always will be, a beast. The Chaos Marauder line did really well. As well, better than what they used to in previous patches. The Aspiring Champions did really well. The Chosen with great weapons, 151 kills is no joke. The Marauder Horsemasters once again pulling more than their weight and cost. 128 kills on this group, 94 on this one. Although in this case we were able to catch a lot of Outriders out in the open and just kind of murder them. So a lot of those numbers come from those kills, but that's still amazing. The Chaos Trolls, the unarmored ones, are pretty cheap, so they did really well. Same thing with the Pharaoh Manticore, and then the Dragon Ogres, 105 kills for me. For Surreal, 43 kills for the Great Prince Sigvald. His Marauder line did really well. Same thing with Aspiring Champions, Chaos Warriors, like they all did really well. The Chosen actually got the lowest kill count, but maybe they were just thrown in later. Or maybe they were fighting against the Longbeards or weapons or something. His Horse Masters, for the most part, did really well, and his Chaos Manticores did well. Yeah, they all did well. For Spyler here, 53 kills on Carl Franz. Mounts on a War Steed, like, that's not bad. I don't think that's bad. No. But the front line of his infantry just had no chance. Although these Tattersouls got 71 kills. That's not bad. Yeah, Tattersouls could do pretty well against probably the Marauders is who they were killing for the most part. The Great Swords, 37 kills. They were really outmatched here. They were the only true anti-armor, anti-infantry unit in here. I mean, the Halberdiers do anti-armor as well, but yeah, there was too much anti-armor here. Too many better warriors for them to fight against. Damien Griff Knights, for the most part, just kind of got shut down. Outriders obviously did, and the Mortar teams got a decent amount of kills. For the Dwarf player here, 29 kills on the Dwarf Lord. Their front line of Longbeards, most of them did pretty well. The Longbeards' great weapons did pretty okay. Slayers did okay. Ironbreakers, not as much. Not as much. And then the Quarrelers had a very hard time just because we were continually harassing them throughout most of the match, but they still managed to get some kills. Cannons, they did pretty okay, and the Organ Gun, 65 kills is definitely not too bad. But that's going to do it, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the battle. I will see you all next time. Have a good day.